Hello, America. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the latest edition of Just the News, No Noise. I'm your host, John Solomon, reporting to you, as always, from Washington, D.C. and the wiredtofishcoffee.com studios. You know this favorite coffee in my entire family, the official coffee of Just the News. And they also have a Just the News mug you can go get. It's a great tumbler. Go check it out. All you got to do is go to wired2fishcoffee.com. You get 10% off when you use the promo code Just News. Go support them. They support us. They make the show and our investigative reporting possible. All right, we have some more bombshell reporting up on justthenews.com, all about who is funding the anti-ICE protests in Los Angeles and around the country, or at least the groups behind it. And we found that there are fueled, at least in part, by a CCP, that is a communist Chinese party-linked revolutionary organization, as well as a tech millionaire. The group is called the Party for Socialism and Liberation, or PSL for short. You see their banners in some of these protests. And they've been openly calling for a revolution to take over the United States government. And they also publicly sympathize with communist regimes around the world. In other words, not our friends. PSL also has a Don't Open for ICE campaign, which tells citizens and non-citizens alike to fight back against ICE, don't cooperate, and that illegal immigrants have a right to stay right here where they are. PSL is also connected to a wealthy businessman named Neville Roy Singham. He's a Marxist, overtly open, he admits it, who sold his tech company in 2017 and has been using the proceeds from that sale to fund communist groups around the globe, including helping to bolster the CCP, the Communist Party in China. We'll have much more reporting on that over at justthenews.com. My amazing colleague, Jerry Dunleavy, has all the money trail. Go check that out and be sure you don't miss a thing. And speaking of China, President Trump announced earlier today that negotiators have agreed to a new trade deal that would see China provide the U.S. with rare earth minerals and would still see tariffs of 55% levied on Chinese goods. The president posted that the deal is subject to final approval from himself along with China's President Xi. We'll speak to the White House about that later in the show. Time now to bring in my amazing co-host, speaking of the White House, Amanda Head. She was there all day today. Amanda, what have you been watching?
It was a hot day at the White House, I'll tell you that.
It was a hot day everywhere.
But also hot, the war of words is still going on between California Democrats and the Trump administration over the Los Angeles immigration riots. And I've already focused on how Governor Gavin Newsom is trying to play it, saying that President Trump is responsible for the violence because he activated the National Guard and sent in Marines to guard federal officers and property. And so far, doesn't seem like that narrative is landing very well with the American people. And then you have LA Mayor Karen Bass, who has now cast herself as a champion of the people, whether they be here illegally or not. Take a listen.
But my message to Los Angeles is we are a city of immigrants. We take pride in the diversity in our city, and it is my job as the mayor of Los Angeles to protect all Angelenos, regardless of when they got here, why they came, or where they came from.
Seems to me like she's saying that she will protect illegal immigrants too. So how is that going to go down with the American public? She also has spoken out about the looting and vandalism that we've seen during these riots. But her number one concern isn't the businesses owned by American citizens who are actually getting hurt. It's about what could happen to the illegal aliens because of that. Listen to this.
The picture that is attempted to being portrayed, and all of us are impacted by this. If you look at TV and you see people who are demonstrating, some inappropriately, some violently, which I believe that anybody that's involved in violence or looting or vandalism is not supporting the cause of immigrants. Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing that because they know that that can trigger an even greater reaction from the administration.
Listen. John, stepping away from the governance aspect of all of this, from a business perspective, you have the Olympics coming to Los Angeles in 3 years, in 2028, and FIFA coming next year. If they don't get their you-know-what together, I don't know what's going to happen, because people are going to come to that city if they still end up having those events there, and they're going to be looking around saying, wow, this place is a you-know-what, like President Trump said about Haiti, or it's not going to happen.
Certain hole.
Yeah. Certain hole, yeah.
It's funny, I was in an LA state of mind today. I was reading the Los Angeles Times from the 1980s.
Oh, but it was good then.
It was, because
sure.
It was better back then. Yes, and you know what I found? The mayor, Karen Bass, had been in the police intelligence files of LAPD because she was working with a group called the Venceremos Brigade, which is a revolutionary group aligned with Castro. She made several trips in the 70s, and her behavior was so concerning to federal intelligence and LAPD that they kept surveillance on her. This came out as a result of some ACLU lawsuits. But it seems almost fitting that LA in its current state would be governed by someone who was sympathizing with Castro and aligning with a revolutionary group. She said she was just taking care of the people of Cuba, but advocating for Castro probably doesn't help the people of Cuba. At least that's not what Cubans who fled think.
Yeah.
All right. We have had a lot of folks in Capitol Hill talking to us the last few days about all the revelations we've had, including who's funding these protests, who's behind them. One of them is the great congressman from the state of Arizona, Andy Biggs. We got a chance to talk to him just a little while ago. Watch what we talked about. All right, joining us now, representing the great state of Arizona and soon maybe to be its next governor, Congressman Andy Biggs. Congressman, good to have you on the show.
Thank you. Thanks, Amanda. John, good to be with you.
It is an extraordinary day today. We see America rallying behind President Trump's policies, Democrats trying to defend the violence and the hatred for our own officers in this country, and then this incredible testimony before Congress about sanctuary governors trying to explain why they allowed their cities to become havens for criminals. How do Americans process all this?
Well, I mean, I'm hearing from a lot of constituents, and they are asking that very same question. But the thing that I find interesting is that the left media, the leftist media, and the leftists in Congress are trying to mediate this thing. They're trying to act as the go-between and tell everybody, hey, this is no big deal. This is just mostly peaceful. This is Donald Trump caused it. But you know what? It doesn't matter how many times they say it. The American people are watching what's happening, and they're saying, yeah, of course you have to get the National Guard there. You have to get the military there because they're attacking the local police officers. They're attacking the federal buildings. They're attacking federal ICE officers. And I think that the American people have had enough of it. We all remember 2020. We remember the lies that were told by the media then. And it's the same people telling the same lies. And I just don't think American people are going to buy it anymore.
Sir, and you look at the polling from the last week or two. Morning Consult just came out with a poll, has President Trump up 8 points. The last 4 overnight polls conducted by Rasmussen has him not only in a favorable category, but over 50%. So if it doesn't poll well for Democrats to have these types of violent riots happening in blue cities, why do they continue supporting and propping up organizations like Churla?
Because they can't help themselves. I mean, I have to tell you, I mean, we've had a number of hearings this week on what I would call 80-20 or 90-10 issues, and the Democrats on our panels, they are taking the 10% side every time. They're radicalized. They don't understand. They can't comprehend that Donald Trump's policies are popular with the American people. It does not compute to them, and thus, you got the most radical Democrats in the country sit in Congress. And so they just can't compute with it. And I'm with you. I'm baffled by it. I sat there yesterday in a hearing, and I'm like, this is a 90-10, 95, perhaps a 95-5 issue. Their own witness in a previous hearing said they needed to pass some of these bills, but they couldn't process that. And it's just amazing stuff. Amazing stuff.
It is. Yeah, it's a party in great distress right now because it's just disconnected from the middle of America. 5 years ago, the Democrats falsely claimed that President Trump never offered the National Guard to the Capitol. We turned out he did days in advance, and then it was Nancy Pelosi who overruled him. She even admitted so on the tape. Now they're on the opposite side. Now they think it's a bad thing that Donald Trump is invoking the National Guard. Do you think Americans remember the little flip-flop that the Democrats have done here?
I think that people like the three of us, and then maybe a third of Americans who kind of pay attention to this at all, they remember. But they understand that there was, in 2020, for instance, all of this stuff was going on, and none of the local governments took charge of it. None of them quelled it. I mean, people want law and order. They want security. They see the small businesses getting looted, and they're like, how can that possibly be a mostly, peaceful protest? I mean, my favorite line, you guys saw this, is the local reporter saying, hey, it wouldn't be good for the police to intervene right now because so many people are enjoying watching or having fun watching the cars burn. I mean, that's the type of thing that has turned middle America off and resonates and says, these people don't like you. And that's the Democrats. That's the Democrats now.
Yeah. Sir, every time we talk to a border official on this show, they are exuberant about being able to do their job now. These are men and women who want to do their job desperately, and they are seeing that under President Trump. So in light of that, why does Senator Rand Paul want the border security package within one big, beautiful bill to, I guess, take a dose of Ozempic?
I'm not sure that I think Rand wants a secure border. I do believe that. I think his bigger issue overall is probably going to be on the spending, the failure to reduce the spending enough. That's what I think is going on here. The bottom line is the border has been brought. It's under control more than it's been at any time in my lifetime, and I'm an old dude, and this is the most secure border we have had. And quite frankly, I think that I wish that there were more cuts in spending in the bill as well. But I think if you want the truth, I think Rand's bigger problem is the debt ceiling issue, and that's what he has said. What I've heard him say, anyway. But the bottom line is, the border is secure. We still have some human and drug trafficking. It's largely in my district. In places where we have no fences, but golly, the agents being able to enforce the law has changed everything, and I think that's something else. You kind of get to what we were talking about earlier. Why is Trump popular? Because he's trying to keep his promises, and he promised that he'd bring the border under control, and people see that and they like that.
Yep. Yeah, promises made, promises kept, no doubt about it. He said it the night of his election win. So I want to ask a little bit about the funding streams for the groups that are clearly on the street doing this. We've reported that some of it comes from the state of California, so you have tax dollars going from the state to a group. Some of it comes from CCP-connected, sort of shadowy groups. Is it time for a major investigation and maybe criminal investigation of groups that foment violence? They always seem to walk away from the carnage, but is this maybe the protest where there is a law enforcement component to those who organize?
I think there is. I think what these, so you're seeing a lot of criminal action where people are firebombing, they're assaulting, they're attempting to assault, they're disrupting, they're trespassing. This is not just a peaceful protest. These are a bunch of violent thugs. And here's the deal. If we know that there's organization going on. We know that there's information and communication going on, and we also know that they're dropping off. Some of these groups are dropping off masks, pallets of bricks and mortar, so they can attack the police. Water bottles to attack the police. Guess what? If you're doing that, that's aiding and abetting. You are facilitating the criminality. You need to be investigated and prosecuted. And it isn't that I'm saying we shouldn't have free speech and being able to protest. What I'm saying is, when you engage in criminal conduct, you basically, if you're fomenting that, you're aiding and abetting. The other thing too is, you should lose every federal grant. Some of these organizations got federal grants, and this also should lead back to the Act Blue investigation that we're doing in Congress, and that the FBI is doing.
Sir, before we let you go, there are going to be counter protests on Saturday against President Trump, dubbed No Kings protests, suggesting President Trump is acting like a king. But it was Joe Biden who tried to force Americans to get the vaccine. It was Joe Biden who ignored federal immigration laws that were already on the book by Congress. He's the one who ignored the Supreme Court when they said you don't have the authority to forgive student loans. Who's acting like a king?
Well, the left are authoritarians. I'm just going to tell you, because they're Marxist/communist, and that group can never win at the polls or in policy, and so they attempt to take over, and they act like authoritarians. That's what's happening here. I mean, the fact of the matter is, the violence had already started before President Trump said, "Hey, we're going to have to protect our agents and protect our property." but somehow he gets the blame. That's the TDS plus Marxist authoritarianism that we see from the left, and it's bizarre. I mean, what they do though is, you guys know this really well, is they project on everybody else, every other rational person in the United States of America. They will project their authoritarianism. They will say, we want to be tolerant of everybody as long as you agree with us. And that's the kind of authoritarianism that they have, and they continue to expand it. And people, I appreciate you guys because you expose it and you keep fighting it, and I'm going to keep fighting it too.
One of the very first people I met when I came to Washington said, "There's nothing like Washington. It comes with a heavy dose of authoritarianism and a touch of hypocrisy every day." And I think the Democrats might proudly wear that label today. Congressman, great to have you on the show today. Thanks for all the great work you're doing.
Thank you, guys. Good to be with you always.
We appreciate you so much. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, President Trump says he has a trade deal with China. That's a big deal. We're going to discuss what's in it and where it heads next right after these messages. Hey, folks, this doesn't happen often, so you want to jump on it. Brickhouse Nutrition's Memorial Day sale is on for a limited time. You can save 25% off everything with my code, Memorial25. Use that code, Memorial25. That includes Lean, the weight loss supplement that targets the goals of GLP-1 injections, but without needles or prescriptions. People are seeing real results, and they love that. It curbs the cravings. Check out the website for reviews. Also on sale is Field of Greens, the superfruit and vegetable drink that literally promises your doctor will notice your improved health or your money back. My doctor noticed, so you should check it out. Whether it's collagen, creatine, or any of their other doctor-formulated products, it's all on sale right now for 25% off. Kick off a healthy summer and save big while you're at it. Go to brickhousenutrition.com and use the promo code Memorial25 for 25% off. But don't wait. The sale's only on for a few days. That's brickhousenutrition.com. Go there, brickhousenutrition.com, Memorial25.
Welcome back, everybody. Before we get to our next guest, just a quick programming note. President Trump is going to be attending one of my favorite musicals, Les Mis, at the Kennedy Center, and we are going to take that live when he hits the red carpet. So just be on the lookout for that in just a moment. But for now, President Trump announced earlier today that negotiating teams had come to terms on a new trade deal between the United States and China, with the president posting on X that rare earth minerals would be supplied upfront by China, and in return, he would allow Chinese students to be admitted to American colleges and universities. And all of that is being done while the Senate is still working on that one big, beautiful bill. So joining us now to talk about all of that from outside the White House is White House Deputy Press Secretary Kush Desai. Kush, great to see you. Thanks for being here again.
Thanks for having me on.
All right, I want to talk to you about this deal with China. I know a lot of people thought that this was going to be very, very far off, but it seems like maybe this could be, maybe this is the plug that opens the drain for all the others?
Definitely. I think over the past couple of days, our trade negotiation team, led by Secretary Bessent, Secretary Lutnick, and Ambassador Greer over at USTR, spent the last 2 days talking with the Chinese delegation in London, and I think we had a major breakthrough here where we had a bit of a stalemate with regard to China not sending over the critical minerals that they had promised to or pledged to during the Geneva talks a while back. And so this is a major breakthrough, and I think a major win for the American people here.
Yeah, and I think there's another narrative. I can hardly forget the doomsday headlines we saw in March, April, May. Terrorists will ruin the economy. Inflation's back. Jobs are down.
Right.
Jobs are up. Inflation's down. The terrorists turned out to be a boon so far in terms of early negotiations. I'm curious, in this moment, how does the White House remind the American public how they were misled by the other side?
Look, I mean, honestly, what we have to do, the way we're thinking about it is, we want to talk with our actions here. And when you look at what's transpired, today we had Today, we just had the fourth expectation-beating inflation report in a row. We've had 4 expectation-beating jobs reports in a row. This morning or yesterday, we saw GM announce a $4 billion investment to make in America again. And that's all thanks to the policies that this administration is deploying here to really get America back on track to restore American greatness. And so, we heard a lot of doomsday prophesizing that we're going to have historic inflation, that, record economic devastation, and the exact opposite's transpired. I think America's on a solid track here.
Speaking of China, Chuck Schumer levied a pretty grave prediction that the one big beautiful bill, speaking of China, makes us less independent and puts us at the feet of China on a number of areas. What's he trying to say there?
Here's the thing. The one big beautiful bill, and Democrats can't really get their head around this, and, they haven't had good policy ideas in a very long time. That's why we had 4 years of Bidenflation and unlimited illegal immigration under the last administration. But here's the thing. The one big beautiful bill is going to lock in so many pro-growth policies. It's not just working class tax relief. It's not just eliminating taxes on overtime and tip. It's also allowing full expensing for when businesses want to manufacture in the United States. They can deduct the investments they make in equipment. So, this is a perfect, kind of synergy with the rest of our tariff policies, our deregulation, to again restore American greatness and bring manufacturing back here. And that's going to play a key role when we kind of go into these trade negotiations. We can push back here and say, look, America's doing well. We don't need to rely on foreign countries to make the things that we should be making right here in the United States.
Yeah, absolutely. We have the vice president who is there
Sure.
at the Kennedy Center, so we're going to cut to those comments. Guys, should we have him stay with us in case
Sure.
we come back? Okay, great. Yes, Coach, please stay with us.
Really like something, you learn to like it too. Good to have a good night. Thank you. Thank you.
And we're back,
we caught the
Coach.
good night. How about that? That's how live TV sometimes works.
I love it. I love it.
Let's
Coach,
get back to Coach.
Coach, I feel like it was just a brief pause. You want to finish what you were saying?
No, well, I was just saying the one big beautiful bill is going to turbocharge our growth here, and it's going to work perfectly with the rest of the policies of the administration, from deregulation to tariffs. So,
Yeah, it's really, really important. One of the things that is really clear, it doesn't matter how many protests the Democrats or their liberal anarchists are going to throw, the president's going to keep accelerating the removal of criminal illegal aliens from the country, because that's what the American people elected him to do. Right now, the more the president does, the more popular this policy becomes. What will we likely see over the next few months? What are the key things for us to all be watching to continue to watch the border reversal success of the Trump administration?
yeah, well, over the next few months, for one, we'll have the one big beautiful bill signed into law, and that's going to mean over $170 billion going towards immigration enforcement, towards border security, to really lock those policies in place. So we'll have the mass deportations that the American people voted for. I think we'll see a slew of new trade deals. We already had one with the UK. I think we'll have more with some of our other major trading partners. And that really allows American industries and American workers to not be left behind and have a level playing field. And so I think we're going to see more and more great jobs and inflation reports. I think this country is getting back on track, and we're working every day to make that happen.
Good point.
Coach, what are you hearing as far as what's going to happen this weekend with these counter protests? Obviously, we have, I don't know why they're counter protesting and taking thunder away from the Army's 250th birthday and Flag Day, but at any rate, that's the day that they are choosing. Are you hearing that that's going to descend upon D.C. and wreak havoc?
Sure. I mean, look, these sort of folks are always, these nefarious elements are always trying to undermine not just the administration, but really our country. I mean, you said it yourself. It's so disrespectful to want to protest our service members, the history of our Army over 250 years, from everything that this Army has accomplished in World War II and World War I. So, we're hearing lots, but at the end of the day, we have plans, and we're working closely with law enforcement to make sure that everyone has a safe and secure time. So, we're not too worried.
Yeah, it's going to be one heck of a celebration, no doubt. Because I want to ask real quickly, there are clearly people that are organizing these protests. You can see command and control, you can see radios, you can see the dropping off of the mortar and the bricks. Do you anticipate, given the people you now have at the Justice Department, the FBI, the Homeland Security Department, at some point those who've aided and abetted these attacks on ICE will face some sort of recriminations in the justice system?
Absolutely. Look, this isn't the Biden administration anymore. This isn't a Democrat-run country anymore. If you're going to assault law enforcement, if you're going to get in the way of law enforcement doing their jobs, you will be held accountable. And I can assure you that the DOJ, the FBI, partners with state and local law enforcement, we're working hand in glove to make sure that those who are breaking our laws are going to be held accountable.
Yeah. It's good to see, and it's good for the American people. It's even good for blue cities, because no one wants to see any American city burned to the ground. And with everything that we've been seeing in Los Angeles, we are one step closer to that happening, unless President Trump, obviously the action he's taken has avoided that. So we appreciate that. White House Deputy Press Secretary Kush Desai, always a pleasure having you here. Thanks for being here. All right, everybody, after the break, we're going to talk about the fallout from Greta Thunberg attempting to travel to Gaza on a flotilla that they are calling the selfie boat.
Welcome back, America. In a second, we're going to get to a topic I think we cannot talk enough about, and that is stopping anti-Semitism. But before we do that, we teased a little bit of our amazing correspondent, Brian Glenn, getting a few questions in. We're going to show you what J.D. Vance actually said. Let's turn to the roll tape, guys.
Mr. President, why are U.S. dependents being authorized to leave the Middle East? Say it. Why are U.S. dependents of military personnel being authorized to leave the Middle East?
You're watching President Trump heading off to the Kennedy Center, guys, and making a few comments here. I couldn't quite hear what he said, but clearly headed off to a big night. Les Mis.
In a tuxedo. Yep.
All right. So what we want to do is get you the full exchange between Brian Glenn and Vice President J.D. Vance a second ago. Let's roll tape and show you what was said.
Look, it's going to be a great night. We're going to have a great time. And I've never seen Les Mis, but we're excited about it. I know the president's excited about it, too.
You guys look stunning. I got to ask you, did you ever go to plays as a kid growing up?
Not a big play guy as a kid growing up. Was not a common experience for me and my family, but it's one of the great things about America is here I am as the Vice President of the United States, seeing this great performance under the leadership of the President and Ambassador Grinnell. I'm excited about it.
Second lady, did you grow up seeing some plays as well?
I did, yes. Yeah. So this is an
she,
experience that we
yeah, she's more of a fan of the performing arts than I have, but it's something that, as all husbands learn, when your wife really likes something, you learn to like it too.
Good. Have a good night. Thank you.
Wise words.
Yeah, that's how you
Yes,
stay
good
married
marital
for a
advice.
very long time with right wisdom like that. A little breaking news. While we were happening, the DNC is going to have another election do-over. They didn't like the results of the DNC vice chair with David
that
Hope,
sounds familiar.
So they're just going to do it over. That's the Democratic way of having elections. If you don't get it right the first time, you just keep doing it.
Yeah, or just
All right, let's get on to a very important topic, one we can't talk about enough, particularly because what started as an ideology of hatred has now become a movement of murderous actions, as we've seen here in Washington, D.C., with the slaying of 2 Israeli embassy workers and then the horrible events of Boulder, Colorado. Joining us now, someone on the front lines of what's now becoming a winning battle, the CO of Stop Anti-Semitism, Elizabeth Kaplan. Elizabeth, good to have you on the show.
Hi, John. Hi, Amanda. Thank you so much for having me this evening.
We
Don't
love
even
it.
know where to start.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I want to start on a little flotilla near Gaza with a climate activist named Greta Thunberg, who now seems to be hanging out with a different clientele. Tell us how the Greta Thunberg episode probably has backfired, not just on her, but on all those who support this ideology.
You know, I think Greta Thunberg is the first person to be kidnapped while having a full camera crew and selfie camera light ready to capture her best angles. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. Just a personal point of view, on the morning of October 7th, my phone started ringing like crazy. And it was the morning of Simchat Torah, which is a holy Jewish holiday, and it was also Shabbos, the Jewish Sabbath. And the first thing I saw when I opened up my phone was 19-year-old Naama Levy being dragged by her hair and thrown into the back of a Jeep by terrorists with her hands tied behind her back and blood-soaked pants. And so for someone like a grifter like Greta Thunberg, who declared she was going to enter a war zone of a sovereign nation and make her demands known, to claim she was kidnapped and mistreated. And then also, I don't know if you saw the clip of her faking like she had her hands in handcuffs, is just an abomination to those who were slain and taken captive and are still held captive by a terrorist organization.
Yeah. Very important reminder.
And I'm seeing a very, very crazy connection, because you have these climate activists that all of a sudden are supporting Palestine. And then even these riots out in Los Angeles, I'm seeing people with signs supposedly supporting illegal immigrants in LA. They call them immigrants, but they are illegal immigrants, with wearing keffiyehs. And they are also some of these people who were supporting Palestine in other riots.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's time, and I think a bipartisan effort is actually being put forth to designate the pro-Palestine movement as some type of terror organization, because that's exactly what it is. If you look at any movement across our U.S. soil, whether it's LGBTQ+, whether it's BLM, whether it's climate activism, whether it's these riots over ICE, the grifters in this movement will take hold of it and fester it. And they use the opportunity to spread this anti-Israel, anti-Jewish, and even more importantly for Americans, it's anti-American and anti-Western. And it's not compatible with our way of life in America. And it has to be classified as an extremist organization, or we're just going to be going a merry-go-round and merry-go-round over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And they raise millions and millions of dollars off of that insanity too, which is just
Very
so
profitable.
extraordinary. There was a pretty big development the last few days out in Arizona. The legislature passes a bill that would let parents sue teachers if they tried to impose anti-Semitic teachings to their children. And Arizona's governor vetoed it, a setback for the movement.
Yeah, so Governor Hobbs, I first want to commend her. She did a great job of quickly shutting down these illegal encampments and actually made them illegal to exist in her state. And I think all governors nationwide should jump on this and do so. Again, because it's not just anti-Israel, anti-Jewish, they are anti-American encampments that are causing havoc and chaos across our country. I took a look at this bill. It was a bipartisan effort. I didn't see anything out of the ordinary as to why she wouldn't sign this into law. So I would like a better explanation. We would like a better explanation as to why she thinks this is an attack on teachers instead of protecting her Jewish students. But again, we'd like to remind the governor that IRA's definition of anti-Semitism is law in her state. And we want to encourage her to be open with us and let us know what other issues she had with the bill, because just at a glance, sometimes legislators like to sneak personal agenda items, but just taking a glance, we didn't really see any of that. So we would like her to clarify why she did not sign this into law.
Yeah, important.
Elizabeth, President Trump is one of, if not the most friendly president to Israel. After President Trump won, they had a billboard in Jerusalem that said, "Welcome back, old friend." And it's been amazing to see that relationship grow. But there is a well-known Democrat strategist out there who says that Jews are leaving the Democrat Party not because of anti-Semitism, but because of tax breaks. Does that line up for you?
That's the first I'm hearing of it. I don't know if that's a jab at some type of conspiracy trope there. But that personally is the first I'm hearing of it. The great thing about being in America, such a wonderful place to live and have the freedoms to choose which party you'd like to belong to, which does not exist in very many parts of the world. So I'm very thankful as a Jewish American to be able to vote best in line with what my morals and values are.
Yeah, that's really important. Last quick question before we let you go. There is a growing body of research, a growing body, I think, of well thought out policy that there's a direct line between the ideology of DEI and then the acceptance of anti-Semitism and, quite frankly, even anti-Americanism. Do you see more and more policymakers understanding that part of rolling back anti-Semitism is disconnecting it from some of the tenets of DEI?
I think so. When we did our research in our college reports, we often saw that DEI did not include Jewish minority groups in any of their studies or even in their bylaws on campus. And, you know, if you're going to classify minority groups and make special clubs and all this, but not actually include all of those minorities on campus, you're not actually making a safe place. You're making a divisive place. And so it is great seeing that these DEI initiatives are either being rolled back or they are starting to include Jews into these initiatives. And I think that's very important, that if you're going to have these type of initiatives, you either have to be fully inclusive or not have it at all.
Great work, and all the work that your group does, Elizabeth. It really has made a big difference over the last few years, and our kudos are to you. Thanks for joining us tonight and for
Thank you so
giving us
much.
such an important update.
Have a great night.
Good to have you. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break. I think when we get back, President Trump will be arriving at the Kennedy Center. We'll get you an update. Maybe he'll make some more comments there. He's never shy about talking, so we'll be out watching that. But first, a few messages from our very important sponsors.
Welcome back, everybody. Well, that was fast. That was a quick trip. President Trump arriving at the Kennedy Center for the opening night of Les Miserables there. Check it out.
But we're hearing that there are a number of donors who are stepping forward to pitch in and make a difference.
$10 million tonight to the center itself. We want to bring it back and bring it back better than ever. As you know, it needs a little help from the standpoint of age and fitness, but it's going to be fantastic. Are you feeling any better? I really am. I love playing. We've seen it many times. We love it. One of my favorites. Well, let's not talk about that. It's a very serious subject. It could be happen.
Mr. President, can you come to the pool camera, sir?
I believe so. As far as I know, yes.
Mr. President, Corey Lewandowski says that you love Les Mis. Is it true?
Say it. We'll see what happens.
Mr. President.
We're going to meet with a lot of people. I look forward to it. Say it. We're going to have to figure that one out.
Mr. President, is there more conservative?
Oh, I would say every one of them is just great. It's truly great. Great talent, and this is a great production tonight. First time.
Mr. President, can you tell us about the reception?
Well, we're going to save the Kennedy Center. We're going to make it incredible. We have all the funding. We raised a lot tonight. We'll put in a lot of money to bring it back to the highest level, higher than it was ever before. It's got great sound. You know, the bones are very good. The sound is great. You'll see that tonight. But we look forward to doing a real job.
Mr. President.
It's a great honor, actually, to be chairman. They asked me to be chairman. This is great. I have a lot of other things going, I will tell you, but it's a great honor to be chairman.
Mr. President, a question from Newsmax.
I hope you got a good one. She's got a good one. I bet she does.
Mr. President, what would you say to Democrats who don't want to come here because you're in charge?
Well, if they need it, we're going to be there, absolutely. If we weren't there, if we didn't bring in the National Guard and the Marines, you would probably have a city that was burning to the ground, just like it was a number of months ago with the housing. You would have had a big problem there. We weren't there. In fact, the police chief said so much. If you look at what his statements were, he said, we're very lucky to have had that. If we weren't there, that city would have been burning to the ground, would be burning right now.
Mr. President, what do you think of actors who are thinking about boycotting tonight? Of unrest, what are you prepared to do, sir?
About what?
If this turns, well, the protests have spread down to 16 cities across the U.S.
Well, I don't know. That's what you're saying. Do I believe you? I don't think so.
Well, I got that.
I can tell you that what we have is a situation in Los Angeles that was caused by gross incompetence. They didn't have the police to handle it. The police were asking us to come in. They were very late. We had to go in to save a lot of ICE officers, as you know, who were held up. They were holed up in a building, and they were being attacked. And the military went in, the National Guard went in and got them. The police weren't able, unfortunately, to move fast enough, but we moved fast enough. And while we were there, we stayed there, and we stopped tremendous destruction. and death. We stopped death. We stopped a lot. And if you look at them cutting up and breaking up the sidewalk and getting it and using it as a weapon, did you see that with the curb? Where they're breaking up the curb, nice curb, and they break it up with a hammer because they couldn't get the bricks in. You know, they got caught with the bricks. We have them under arrest. They were bringing bricks in to throw at our police, to throw at our National Guard, and to throw at people. And they couldn't get them in because we got them. And after we got them, they went and took a big hammer and started breaking up the concrete sidewalk and curb. And they were handing it out to people to throw and drop on cars. You saw what they did, the damage. So if you don't do something about that, there's something very wrong. We are going to have law and order in our country. Thank you.
Mr. President, boycotting tonight.
Who is?
It's been reported that some actors may be boycotting tonight.
I couldn't care less, honestly. All I do is run the country well. The economic numbers, you saw them today, they're setting records. We took $88 billion in tariffs in 2 months, far beyond what anybody expected. There's no inflation. People are happy. People are wealthy. The country is getting back to strength again. That's what I care about. And we're going to have a safe country. We're not going to have what would have happened in Los Angeles. Remember, if I wasn't there, if I didn't act quickly on that, Los Angeles would be burning to the ground right now. Thank you.
Mr. President, could you provide an update on Iran?
How excited are you for the new era under your great new leadership with Ambassador Brunel?
Well, he's a great guy. Rick is great. He's always done well for me. And the new era right here is going to be something. The bones of this facility are incredible. We're going to make it really great.
How excited are you for Red Nose today?
So that's going to be great.
Mr. President, what would you say to Democrats?
What would you say to Democrats who don't want to come because you're in charge?
Say it again.
Yes, a question from Newsmax. Could you provide an update on Iran? We're hearing reports that U.S. personnel are being moved out of the region within striking distance.
Well, they are being moved out because it could be a dangerous place, and we'll see what happens. But they are been. We've given notice to move out, and we'll see what happens.
Is there anything that can be done to dial the temperature down in the region?
They can't have a nuclear weapon. Very simple. They can't have a nuclear weapon. We're not going to allow that.
Mr. President, a question on the musical. Have you seen the musical before, and do you identify more with Jean Valjean or Javert?
Oh, that's a tough one. That last part of that question, that's tough, I think. You better answer that one, honey. I don't know. I've seen it. We've seen it a number of times. It's fantastic. I thought it was just about our first choice. So that's what we got. And we have others coming. Other great ones are coming.
Phantom of the Opera.
What are you looking forward to
Why are you so quiet, Jeff?
My question is on trade. Would you be willing to extend the deadline for trade talks with these countries?
I would, but I don't think we're going to have that necessity. We made a great deal with China. We're very happy with it. We have everything we need, and we're going to do very well with it, and hopefully they are too. That was a very big one. As you know, we did with the UK, and I tell you what, we're rocking in terms of deals. Now, at a certain point, we're just going to send letters out, and I think you understand that, saying this is the deal. You can take it or you can leave it. You don't have to use it. You don't have to shop in the United States, as I say. So at a certain point, we'll do that. We're not quite ready. We're dealing with quite a few countries, and they all want to make a deal with us, every one of them.
Who's next? Who are you expecting to get a deal with next?
Well, we're dealing with Japan. We're dealing with South Korea. We're dealing with a lot of them. We're dealing with about 15 countries, but as you know, we have about 150 plus, and you can't do that. So we're going to be sending letters out in about a week and a half, 2 weeks, to countries, telling them what the deal is, like I did with EU.
And are you happy with the EU right now? You were unhappy with them about 10 days ago.
Well, I'll let you know in about a week. They do want to negotiate, I will say that. Thank you.
Mr. President, we're making the theater great again.
We are, Brian, and I'm glad you're here.
Glad to be here. What does it mean to be here tonight? Now this is under your administration, you're bringing class back, the golden era of theater.
We have a golden era here in the country. You see the trade numbers came in today, they're fantastic. The deficit was cut in half over a period of 2 months. We cut what they tried to destroy our country. They were destroying our country, and you saw how good the numbers were. We took in $88 billion in tariffs in 2.5 months, and that we didn't even start yet. No, we're bringing the country back fast, and I'm very proud to have helped Los Angeles survive. Los Angeles right now, if we didn't do what we did, would be burning to the ground. And that's not over yet. You know, these are radical left lunatics that you're dealing with, and they're tough, they're smart, they're probably paid, many of them, as you know, they're professionals. When you see them chopping up concrete, because the bricks got captured, they're chopping up concrete, and they're using that as a weapon. That's pretty bad, and thank you very much for your question.
You're a New Yorker. You've been to a million theaters. Do you remember your first theater production that you attended?
Well, a long time ago. I would say maybe it was Cats.
Cats. First Lady, do you remember your first theater production you saw?
Phantom of the Opera.
Are
you a Les Mis fan, Mrs. Trump?
I am. That was great.
I am.
We're going to munch
bringing
on
a lot
some
of them
popcorn
right
and Diet Coke tonight while we watch the production.
I think so. I think I will. Thanks.
Thank you, Brent. Thank you, Brent.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
All right, welcome back, everybody. So as we leave that happening at the Kennedy Center, we might cut back in a little bit, but we want to focus on the Make America Healthy Again movement and how it all starts with making yourself healthy again, too. And with us now to talk more about it and how you can do just that, from Pure Health Research, Dr. Ian Tolberg. Dr. Tolberg, thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. This is a hard act to follow.
You're going to do just fine, and I know this because not only are you very astute, but you also work very closely with an important company, Pure Health Research, that puts out some incredible products. Tell us about some of your favorites.
Yeah, I do. You know, there's three real main big ones, and I'll go over our three best sellers. The first one's actually one that I personally use. It's the Liver Health Formula. So a fan favorite, 2 million bottles are sold. And as the name implies, it just helps support that healthy liver health. So it can help reduce fat deposits in the liver, ignite that metabolism to trim that belly fat that we all love to get, and just overall flushing out some of those harmful toxins and a nice boost in that energy. Second one is our lymph system support. So anyone who's struggling with swelling, fluid retention, specifically in the extremities, namely their legs, ankles, feet, they're going to absolutely love this one. It just really helps to flush out that extra fluid, and could even restore some of those more shapely legs that we had when we were younger. And our third top one, the blood sugar formula. And as you can guess, this just helps support a healthy blood sugar level. So it can help reduce the appetite, crush those sugar cravings. So it just makes it easier to stay away from those tempting sweets. And so maintaining that healthy blood sugar just has so many advantages, dropping a few extra pounds, again, shrinking some of that belly fat, boosting some of those energy levels, and of course, keeping those good levels really helps with vision, kidneys, heart, and circulation too. But great thing is there's 45 different products, so everyone is absolutely going to find something that they really need.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm so grateful for the partnership we had. You and Dr. Holly have been so fantastic. And I was coming back about a week ago. I stopped at a food store to go get some quick staples for the house, and a woman came up to me and said, "Fatty liver, no more." And I realized that this conversation we're having and the conversation that Secretary Kennedy's having, and if people are focusing on vital organs that we probably just forgot about or took for granted for the last 2 or 3 decades, how important is it that this conversation has really got people not only looking at it from a country perspective, but what about me? How do I get myself healthy?
Yeah, so there's certainly a lot of different ways, and what I'm really talking with today is specifically purehealthresearch.com. And so again, 45 different products. You can go to their website. Great thing is within the next 48 hours, if you put in the coupon code JustNews, you'll save 35% on your order. And so that's just a great way to start. But man, you've got to do all kinds of other things as well. Start getting in shape, start walking, start getting that heart rate level up. We've got to make America healthy again. That is not just it's a slogan, but it's much more than that. It really needs to be embedded within our culture, and that's something, unfortunately, that we've lost.
Yeah, that's a great point.
I want to press in on one of these specific formulas because the older we get, I have noticed it myself that when I eat sugar, that the crash is faster and harder. I mean, it is almost unavoidable. I have to, just make sure I'm standing upright so that I don't fall over. The blood sugar formula, tell us about it.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things out there that can do this. There are other prescription medications, but what we're really focused on is trying to do things in a little bit healthier way. You can take one medication and you know what, there's all kinds of side effects to that. So then you take another medication to help with those side effects. But the great thing about these, they're just really premium natural ingredients that really help to support these formulas. And so it just really helps to decrease those sugar cravings. And again, just taking out those tempting sweets that you just really don't even want to get into anymore without going with any of those harmful side effects. So all natural, you're not looking at GMOs, you're not looking at those added fillers, preservatives. And awesome thing is they are made right here in the United States, so we know that you're absolutely getting top-of-the-line products.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I was perusing the site, and I noticed something new that I hadn't seen the last time I was on there, lymph system support. Tell us a little bit about why a healthy lymphatic system is important to all of us.
Yeah, so I don't know about you, but I wear compression stockings on a daily basis. I'm constantly walking around. And so everyone does have some of that just fluid pooling. And these are some things that can really help get that lymph system just really working to pull some of that fluid off. You just get flush out that extra fluid. And just overall, you're really looking at it from the legs, the ankles, the feet. But I've seen all kinds of upper extremity type of issues as well, where you just get that extra just weight and just makes things just a little bit less flexible. So then you really don't want to do more of those activities as well. So overall, it just gets you feeling better, gets some of that extra fluid off you, and again, gets those legs back to where they should be.
Yeah. Dr. Ian Tolberg from Pure Health Research, thank you so much for joining us tonight, guys. Pure Health, they stand by their products. And so to all of our viewers, if you're interested in any of those formulas that he mentioned, head over to purehealthresearch.com. And for the next 48 hours only, you will save 35% on your order with coupon code JUSTNEWS. All right, so everybody check that out. John, what's your favorite formula? It's got to be the one that gives you more shapely legs.
Yeah, I haven't, but maybe I should think about it. Liver health formula, because I literally had fatty liver a few years ago. I'm starting to learn about it right when I learned about these great products. And and listen, I got the sugar down really quickly, and my liver function is back to normal. I had really unusual blood tests on the liver, and I feel so much better now. So
and your doctor
grateful.
said, hey, great job, right?
Yeah, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Like, all right, here we go.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. All right, everybody. So we are going to continue coverage into the next hour of President Trump at the Kennedy Center. But before we go, remember to tune into RAV on Saturday for our coverage of the U.S. Army's Grand Military Parade. It is the Army's 250th birthday. It's also President Trump's birthday, and it's Flag Day. And our coverage is going to start at 4 p.m. Eastern on such a patriotic day. It's going to be a blast. Hopefully it doesn't rain, but if it does, it's